Oh, Japan is so amazing, so good in terms of a lot of things, including food and hospitality, culture, Japanese people, and anime. Oh my god, Japan is the best country in this world. Kawaii, konnichiwa. Nah. I mean, that might be true in a way, to some extent, but look, there's so many things that are not good about this country. If you're visiting Japan as a tourist, you might not recognize it, but once you take up residence in Japan and you're immersed in Japanese society for a certain amount of years, you're most likely to have some negative aspect of Japan. So today I'm going to be talking about this. Well, before we dive into it, if you're a Japan lover, listen, I love Japan so much. I'm so proud of being Japanese. I was born and grew up in Japan, and I also went through the whole Japanese education system. So I basically living in Japan for 23 years. I am so proud of having my Japanese name of kanji that has a beautiful meaning. I'm so grateful to have a spirit of having the consideration for others that only people who live in Japan for a long time can have. And I'm even grateful to have a sense of pleasure when I take a bath. Like, oh my god, so good. I doubt you guys have the same sense of pleasure that we have. You guys barely take a bath in the first place, don't you? Well, anyway, today I'm going to be talking about 4 things that I don't like about Japan. It's not that I hate Japan. It's not that I think Japan is a bad country or anything. There's no perfect countries in this world. Wherever you go, wherever you are, you will find some negative aspect of that country. So please listen to what I'm going to tell you guys as one of Japanese opinion. Don't take seriously, alright? So let's get started. Alright, so why don't we start off with such a silly topic to warm up. Number 1. Japanese porn. Before I tell you guys my opinion, I just want you to understand. I understand it's complete personal preference, so I'm just gonna scratch the surface a bit. Still, there are 2 clear reasons that I don't really like about Japanese porn, so let me explain why. So first one is a Japanese girl's morning. By the way, I don't see the difference between like morning and morning. Like morning as in the morning, like the beginning of the day, and morning as in the sound of like struggling with pain, like the sound of the girls while having sex. Am I pronouncing properly? So tell me, just teach me that in the comment section. But anyway, well, I've got a lot of international friends saying like, yo bro, why are they making a natural noise like that? Is that high-pitched moaning, or like are they screaming or even crying? Oh my god, I don't get it, bro. And I was like, yeah, totally, I can't agree with you guys more. That unrealistic noise is really off-putting for me, and that would turn me off, even though there's still many creative and interesting Japanese videos. I just want to tell each one of them in the industry, please calm down a little bit. Alright, that's the first one I don't like about Japanese porn. So second one is their kiss. Their kiss in Japanese adult videos is just terrible, just really bad. So I look up the definition of good kisser and a bad kisser. So here's that. So according to the articles, 5 signs you're a bad kisser, even if you think you aren't. The bad kisser was defined like you're not paying attention to how your partner wants to be kissed. And the second definition of bad kissers is you get too intense too quickly. For the most part, you should start slow with kissing. If you're launching yourself at your partners, expecting an intense makeup session right away, you're probably going to be labeled a bad kisser. Unfortunately, I define Japanese actresses and actors in adult videos as bad kissers. Well, as conclusion, I don't like Japanese porn. If you have ever watched Japanese porn before, I'd love to hear your opinion. So give me a comment in the comment section below. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. A serious topic. Alright, so number 2, peer pressure. This is one of the reasons why I used to steer clear of large gatherings with more than 5 or 6 Japanese friends together. Like, I basically gave up on fitting in the groups that have an influence on a person to confirm in order to be accepted by the groups, if you know what I mean. Like, sometimes you choose to do something that you wouldn't otherwise do because you want it to be accepted by the group, so like you want to be valued by your friends. Well, for example, let's say you go to the baseball stadium to watch a baseball game with your 5 Japanese friends together, and after the game, like, one of your friends says, why don't we go to a restaurant to have dinner? And here's the tricky part. In the process of making their decision of whether they join the dinner or not, you'll feel little weird pressure among them. Like, everybody's just guessing like, well, everybody seems like they're down for it, so maybe I'll join, or something like that. You can turn them down if you don't feel up to it, or like you have something to do at home or something. However, you would perceive their feelings of disappointment, even though they don't tell you like directly, like straightforwardly. Still, like you can tell that they're judging you like you're outsider because you made that decision. That's pretty fucked up, right? But since I was immersed in individualistic culture in America, I had come to realize how easy you can be yourself without worrying if you can fit in a group. So like thinking that you might have to do it because everybody else is doing it. Interestingly, each one of my friends that I met in the States was very independent and made their own decision by themselves in any situation based on their personal opinions. So unfortunately, the more I learn individualism from my friends, the harder I live in conformist society with peer pressure. So I'd rather be alone, or I prefer being with few open-minded friends of mine that I can be myself with. But still I can be flexible though. But that's about peer pressure in Japan. If you're living in Japan and have some thought on that, I'd love to hear you guys' opinions. So please give me a comment down below. Let's move on to the next one. Number 3, lack of diversity. So if you like rugby, you probably know this, but Rugby World Cup, held in Japan in 2019, drove awareness of Japanese rugby team that consists of players from 7 different countries. And after all the tournaments, one of the interviewers from Japanese sports magazine asked their captain named Michael Leach, who is originally from New Zealand, why are there so many foreigners in Japan's squad? And he answered like, because that's how Japan is today. And I was like, what? No. Still, more than like 96 and 97% of people who live in Japan are Japanese, pure Japanese. And I generally believe that there's still a certain amount of people who view our society as a monoethnic. I also have to admit that the perception of our national identity and what it means to be Japanese has been ingrained in our head for over like hundreds of years. Lack of diversity is still a huge issue in Japan. Well, honestly, I think this is not something that directly causes a problem for 100% Japanese who living in Japan, but I've got lots of international friends living in Japan, and especially for residents in Japan and for those who are half Japanese and half different country, when I put myself in their shoes, I think it's really, really difficult for them to find a comfortable spot to fit in because of lack of diversity. Like a couple weeks ago, I met this guy who is half Japanese and half German, grew up in Japan his entire life. So I was having conversation with him in Japanese while walking down the street, right? And then some Japanese girls came up to him and said like, "Nihongo jutsu desu sugoi," which basically means like, your Japanese is so good, so amazing, spectacular. It's that kind of thing. And he was like, yeah, of course, because I'm Japanese. And that's the moment I feel really bad for him, or for people who don't look like pure Japanese people. Because even though he's his own country, he has to be treated as a foreigner, like outsider. That's not something we can accept, right? Of course, he deserves to be treated as same as pure Japanese people. But at the same time, I can't blame them because that's how we raised. Like, we grew up being surrounded by all pure Japanese people. Well, I think this is not something we can change by doing something spontaneously. This is something that we have to get used to. So, it takes time. I'm sure it will get better like in the course of time. So anyway, that's the 3rd thing that I don't like about Japan. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so number 4, Keigo. Well, if you're living in Japan, you probably know this, but Keigo is an honorific form of speaking Japanese. And using Keigo is showing your consideration and respect for your person you're talking to, especially for those who are older than you. I'm totally fine with that. I'm totally fine with using Keigo. And most importantly, Keigo is such a beautiful and unique aspect of Japanese language. And I like it when it comes to the existence of, Keigo. That being said, there's still an occasion that I hate using Keigo as an exception. So I'm going to explain the situation. It's going to be very specific, so I hope you understand. So here's that. In that situation where you want to make friends from different countries who have not been immersed in Japanese and Japanese society yet, regardless of whether they're older than you. I'm not saying I don't want to be respectful to them. I will show my respect in a different way. But the thing is, especially if their Japanese is not good enough to have daily conversation, then it will be really difficult to get along if I use Keigo just because they're older than me. But to take an example, let's say I saw a buff guy working at gym in Japan, and I want to be his friend because I want to get some workout tips from him. So I just come up to him and go, "Konnichiwa, kyou doko kitaite desu ka?" And he goes like, "Kyou wa oppai wo kitaite masu yo." Oh my god, those worse than I try to be. But anyway, I probably come up with 2 options to respond to what he said. So one is just encourage him to work out hard with using Keigo. So it'll be like, そうですか、じゃあ、頑張ってください or something like that, and that's it. Or you could be so friendly and correct his Japanese without using Keigo. So it'll be like, そういう時はおっぱいじゃないでしょ。面白い間違いだけどね。Or something like that. Well, definitely the second one is much easier to get along with each other, even if there's like language barriers or something. I don't think I necessarily like put up the thick and invisible wall in between you and person you're talking to. But once again, I think Keigo is a beautiful thing, and I don't think there's other countries has the kind of things like Japanese. So I'm so proud of it. That's just one occasion that I don't like using Keigo. So I just wanted to share with you guys. So this is gonna be a wrap on today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. What do you think about my list? Did you agree or disagree on that? I love to hear your guys' opinion, and if you have any question or anything, please give me a comment down below. And if you liked this video, give me a thumbs up, and even if you don't like this video, give me a thumbs up. But anyway, thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you guys next one. Bye.